Whether you call it a hackle stacker or a paraloop, this is how to tie it.
Yeah, that's a big round, bro.
This is a hackle stacker, as we call them in the United States. My brothers in the UK have reminded me they call them paraloops. So whether you call it a paraloop or a hackle stacker, this is the technique that I like. This is a size 12. Use whatever dry fly hook you like. You can also tie these with no tail, curved shank hook, and the hackle stacker up on top. So I just have 70 denier thread. For the tail, I'm going to use some moose fibers. I have like, I don't know, I counted them. There are like 7 or 8 of them in there. And I'm just going to make that tail roughly the same length as the body. And then once it's tied in, I'll sneak my thread up underneath it so that I can tie it off up here. It just makes for a much smoother body. So then if I wrap back, you can see we're nice and clean, tied in right on top. Trim the excess. Wrap a little bit further back, and I'm going to split this tail by bringing my fingernail up underneath. Somebody's going to count these and tell me there's way more than 7 or 8, Brig. So, will you have my back in the comments? Brigham?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
I think there's 9 though.
Oh my gosh. He doesn't have my back already. So anyway, just kind of split it out like that. It's supposed to be kind of unruly, because the rest of the fly is going to be nice and clean. So we're going to go all the way back up to the front. This is about where I want that hackle stacker to start, right here. So I'm going to take some span flex. That's going to be both the body and the mechanism with which to create the hackle stacker. All right. I'm going to pull this really tight and bring this back. And then back up. With this span flex or life flex or flex floss, whatever you want to call it, you can actually create a small taper in a body like this by just pulling it tight and letting tension off. So here I'm pulling it pretty tight. Sorry, I have to use my fingers to wrap this. Whenever I wrap rotary style with this, it's hard to gauge how much tension you have. So here I'm going to start letting off just a little bit and then stacking it on top of itself. So you can see it's getting a little thicker in the front, but not too much. And we'll just stop right here. So I'm going to leave that tied in and tie up in front of the fly a little bit and then stretch it and bring it back down. Really, really tight wraps on this one because we're going to put a lot of pressure on this. And then I'm going to make a loop about like that and tie that down with about the same amount of pressure. All right, if you don't have enough pressure, those will pull out of there. So trim that off. And now we're ready to build our hackle into it. All right, in the other video we used some grizzly dyed purple and some grizzly. This time I'm going to use Coachman brown and grizzly dyed purple. It's going to look awesome. So I'm just going to prepare these 2 feathers, trim off or strip off a little bit of the stem. And I just like to lay them on top of each other, kind of facing the same direction. Make sure you have concave to concave, just like that. And I'll tie those in about like this. Wrap those stems down. We're going to put some pressure on those, and now we will get rid of those. And then I take my thread back to where the span flex starts. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take those hackle fibers, and It doesn't matter which way they're facing. I'm just going to start wrapping those up. And I have a pretty good stretch going on with my index finger. And so if I wrap that much and I pull that over, that's pretty good length. There's going to be a little bit of dubbing in there, but I like that. So that's as far up as we'll go. Sorry, I'm all fingers, but I have to reach around and grab that to start it down on the other side. But I'll just wrap that through itself back down to the bottom. So you can see this is a lot of hackle on this fly, okay? So once it's here, we're going to preen all that hackle back with our excess fingers. That's my thumb and middle finger, and I should be able to get a pretty clean tie off. So there you go. You can let go of that hackle, it'll just hang out right there, and now trim it off. Minimal casualties, okay. Get whatever dubbing you like to finish it off. I just have some of this micro dry. It's a really cool purple color from Hairline. And I'm just going to cover this up a little bit. This is maybe a little bit bluer purple than the rest of the fly, but that's fine. A little bit of contrast will do the fly good. Okay, pull that stuff out of the way. Let's see. There we go. We're just going to wrap that forward a little bit more. I do like to leave a little bit of room in front of the fly so that we can get a real nice clean tie off with the span flex. All right, let's see. All right, there's a little hackle fiber here. If that was driving you crazy and I just made your day by trimming it out of there, please comment below and say thanks, Cheech. Brigham wouldn't have done that. Okay, thanks. All right, we're ready to do the magical trick, okay? So the reason why I like span flex on this is a lot of the other common methods for tying a hackle stacker are with monofilament or even with fly tying thread. Well, if a fish catches that monofilament or thread with its tooth, it's probably going to break out. This will just stretch and snap right back into place. So it's hard to not catch fibers down into the eye. So to avoid that, pull everything back and just catch this span flex with 2, 3, 4 loose wraps and let it sit just like that. Now take the span flex and just pull it into that head, okay? So you can see nothing's trapped down and we can preen those fibers out of the way. Maybe one more turn around that, and then we're going to come in here, pull everything back, and just really do some securing wraps behind those hackles. You know what, I'm going to redo that. I trapped some hackle down with the actual span flex. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe try to preen the hackle back, and then when I pull down it will be a little bit cleaner. Few wraps, start pulling it down, and I'm just going to keep those out of there. Yeah, that worked a lot better this time. All right, so few turns like that, and then I'm going to double it on top of itself. There, that's how I know I did it correctly. Nothing trapped down. It makes a nice little kind of bulbous head. And then we'll whip finish this. And then let's come in here and doctor it up. Did have a few people say, no, leave the rubber legs on. It's like, no, actually they look like this. Like they have no useful purpose on this fly. So if you pull them gently, stretch them, trim them, then you can come in here and pretty up your wing. But that is a super durable and super buoyant fly. You know what, I'm gonna come in here. We have a few haters that will not fall in line. So if you have some of those, introduce them to some carbon steel and they'll listen. Anyway, that is a killer little hackle stacker pattern. Wait, let me get the tail right. Okay, now look at that profile. It's just got a lot of just bugginess to it. So there you have it.